Welcome to New Industrialists. It's a show when we explore new technology in manufacturing, mobility, and energy. And today we are in Las Vegas at CES, Consumer Electronics Show, and I'm here with Raja Bose, VP of Product Management, Global Product Management at Cerence AI. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, great to be here. Yeah, thank you.
It's an exciting show for Cerence. You're making a number of excitement announcements. You're talking about new technology. Can you share with the viewers what it is that you guys are announcing?
Yeah, so I would love to highlight the two big things that we announced and we are launching as well. So the first one is XUI. That is our AI voice assistant and agentic AI product for automotive OEMs. And then as part of that, also we announced and launched our mobile work AI agent, where we have a collaboration with Microsoft and bringing Microsoft Office productivity into the car in a very safe manner.
I'm obviously super excited about the fact that you're working with us at Microsoft and bringing and collecting components of our technology with your technology. I would love to learn more. What is it? How is it that we can collaborate with each other, and what it is that we do together?
Sure, and so let me first start off by talking about what we are already collaborating on and we are launching and deploying in production, and then we can talk about what's coming next. Mm-hmm. So in terms of what we launched and we are going to production with at scale with multiple global automotive OEMs as we speak. So we have, as part of XUI, we are running NVIDIA AI models on Azure. So that is definitely one of the big things. But also as part of that, like I mentioned earlier, we have this mobile work agent, which is offered as part of XUI. And there we are collaborating with Microsoft on bringing all the Office 365, M365 apps into the car. And the key differentiator there that we are seeing, and I would love to also bring in a little bit of the OEM responses we have been getting about this, is that in terms of security, and this is somewhere the industry recognizes Microsoft as a leader, and as part of our collaboration, we have made a lot of use of the security mechanisms and features in the cloud that Microsoft brings.
Okay, that's a lot, and I know it's been an incredible show, and there's so many news to share with our audience. So let me unpack it. Let me go one by one. Mm-hmm. First of all, I really like your presence and your booth here, and the first thing that I saw that really made me stop and pause and understand what you are doing is the demo. Because you are taking the concepts that you are describing here and actually showing us of what it means to use new way of interacting with the system, with your voice. Yeah. So walk me through it. What does it mean? Walk me through the demo.
Yeah. So at the very basic level, what we are demonstrating, and again, launching in production as we speak, is conversational voice UI in the car. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think, okay, that is something we are used to on our regular phones and devices nowadays, and customers are used to that, so the bar is really high, what we need to meet. And there's a lot of thinking around like, oh, it must be fairly easy to do given we have already done it on consumer electronic devices.
It's done in a simple way, like the only thing I do on my phone that's voice is basically dictation or some simple commands. You go beyond.
We go well beyond that. In fact, conversational voice UI is about that. It's kind of going beyond command and control and to actually letting people talk naturally. And this is something we have been promising for a long time. But now finally the science and engineering has caught up and allows us to deliver on that promise. And so as part of that, what we are demoing, and we have in fact 2 cars in our booths where we are showing that demonstration, is customers are able to speak naturally, they are able to change their mind while they're speaking, they can literally pivot from one type of request to another, and the system catches that smoothly, adjusts to that.
How is it possible? I think everybody is thinking like, there's no way, because when they interact with existing systems, voice systems, it doesn't work this way. Yeah. Unless you start it correctly, are complete with your prompt, it doesn't work. Right. But you figured it out. What is the new thing that you're adding to make it work?
So the new thing that makes it work, and again, this is part of our collaboration with Microsoft as well, is we are using large language models, both in the cloud, but we are also using small language models on the edge inside the car. So the solution that we have in XUI, what we call it a hybrid solution, which means that if you really want low latency, you want privacy, you don't need to always go to the cloud and have a large language model do the conversational voice UI. So this whole conversational voice UI concept became reality because of all the advances we have in the industry for large language models. But now what we have taken it further with is now we have something called small language models, which are actually suitable for running on the embedded hardware.
So that's how you are leveraging the power of AI, but locally with no latency or within the environment where users...
Locally and in the cloud, very seamlessly. So the customer doesn't know where the magic is happening. All they know is the magic is happening, and it happens in a very uninterrupted way.
Is that enough? Is that really the secret sauce to take the AI model and make it work on the edge? Or do you need to provide a context for the AI model to really understand what it is that we mean?
Yeah, so context is definitely super important, and there are multiple contextual signals that are available in the car, some of which are integrated from the vehicle systems, some of which are coming from other parts of the customer's life, like their calendar, their emails, things like that. So all that comes together. So that is, of course, very important. But one of the things that gets overlooked a bit, I would say, or not discussed as much, but is super important because it operates in the background, is the security aspect of it, and the privacy and security aspect of it. And that is one of the places where not only we are collaborating with Microsoft on, but we will see even more there as we go beyond XUI.
But let me explore it. Like, why does security matter? I'm in a car, the doors are closed. Where does the security play into this equation?
Yeah, so the security matters because so if you're on the edge and all your data were to stay just within the car, there is a certain perception of security because it's all inside the car, it's not going anywhere. But the reality is that because we live in a digital world, we live in a very connected world. So the reality is that your data at some point or some parts of it does go into the cloud, and you depend on the cloud for a lot of the functionality and utility.
Because it's a hybrid system that you are building one way or the other, yes.
That's precisely right. So in that case, then security becomes super important, because it is not just about the customers feeling confident that they have access to their data, they can ask for their data or ask it to be deleted, like all the different regulations and compliance we have, but it is important for the customers to know that their data is secure and only accessible to them and to the people they authorize and not to anybody else. So that's a very critical part which doesn't get discussed, but is a super.
And sounds like you're not just discussing it, you actually have solutions to be able to handle and manage it. What do you do? What's the unique way for you to handle this?
Yeah, so for example, the mobile work AI agent. So there, the way we built the system, so this is, now this mobile work AI agent is used for customers to do their corporate work, like so their office suites, office data, so confidential company stuff. And so in mobile work agent, the way we integrated with Microsoft services is that the customer's corporate data actually stays within the Microsoft cloud, just as if they were working on their laptop in the office. It's as secure as that. It does not go through any other cloud, and it stays there. And again, this is something where we see like a lot of OEMs, they don't expect that. So when they actually learn about that, they are very, very pleasantly surprised and even more enthusiastic about adopting something like that.
And this is the reason, and the reason for this is collaboration that you have with us at Microsoft. Not only you build the system the way that takes advantage of the platform that we provide, but you also take advantage fully of the platform that we provide.
Exactly, exactly. Because at the end of the day, I mean, our philosophies kind of align with some of Microsoft's key philosophies. And so in this particular context, for example, when we design and build the system, like you mentioned, so we always want to make sure that it is secure by design, it's secure by default. And then when we are deploying it in production, and again, using Microsoft services at scale, it is secure in operations. So that's very critical.
So you've got all the three components covered. But I I'm surprised that your customers would be surprised. Why would an OEM be surprised that you made your data secure? Is that such a high bar to ask?
That's a great question. So they are not surprised we make the data secure. That's an expectation.
Yes.
That's a table stakes expectation. What they're surprised is how we make it secure. The fact that we are able to do that in a very elegant manner, where like in the mobile work agent, AI agent case, the data does not actually leave the Microsoft cloud, which is like basically working in the car is as secure as working in their corporate office. So that is what surprises them, that we are able to do this without having some very complicated multi-cloud security solution. And because the more actors you bring into play, you increase the risk, you increase the surface. So we didn't do that. So that's what surprises.
And does this level of security you provide and what resonates with OEM, does that also resonate with customers, with drivers?
Oh, absolutely. So in this case, I'll call them end users because they could be drivers, they could be passengers.
That's true. That's
right?
True.
So, it definitely resonates there, and it is more, I would say, peace of mind, right? So it is not like if we have it, they will give us kudos like, oh, this is so great. No, if we don't have it, they will not use it. So that's the way we see it.
Because the experience as a user in a car is simply using the system.
Yeah.
So that security component is really hidden until something happens. Exactly. Then it's exposed. Okay. Exactly. So you're removing that level of
We are removing
anxiety.
that, exactly, that peace of mind that I'm referring to. Absolutely.
Okay, so you're really doing well in cars. You're building new systems and new ways of for users to interact with the vehicle. Do you also operate and use the system outside of the car, or is what you do focused and specific for the mobility space?
So our initial focus, and this is also based on Cerence's history, has been within the car. That's been our initial focus. And the reason I'm underlining initial here is going forward, and especially what we are doing this year and the subsequent years, is we go outside of the car's doors as well. Because at the end of the day, from our perspective, the customer journey doesn't start and stop at the doors of the car, right? So even though a lot of the systems have been built that way in the past, and customers have never been able to figure out because it's so unintuitive, because for them it's one full journey. But
so you see a journey as a unit that you're trying to manage, not a time in the car. Okay, that's a different way of thinking about it.
Yeah. So we are thinking about it more holistically. And in fact, the AI, especially on the AI agent aspect of XUI, that is one of our fundamental tenets.
But give me, before you go there, give me a sense of what is that journey? Like, what does the journey beyond the car looks like? Do you have ends to this story?
Yeah, so it depends on the use cases. For example, so let's take the mobile, since we have been talking about it, the mobile work agent use case. So in this case, the customer journey might start from the customer's home, right? So they are working on some emails, or they maybe attended a few meetings or set up some appointments while they were home on their laptop. And then they got into the car, and we can all relate to this with return to office. A lot of the time on the road overlaps with what traditionally used to be our time in the office, especially with commutes getting long and so on.
And with automation coming in, with autonomous cars coming in, there's going to be even bigger part of what happens in the car. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that will help with a lot of the problems.
Of course. The solution that you are building, yes. Mm-hmm.
But even before we get to autonomous, before we get to a critical mass of self-driving vehicles and all out there, even before that, we need to solve this problem because it's a real problem. And it is something which directly impacts customer safety. It directly impacts the life.
And we've all tried to open a meeting and go on a call in the middle of guilty.
All pulled up our phones trying to get to that meeting and trying to join in, and we are stuck in traffic, right? All of us can relate to that. And that's one of the things when we were designing this, we are like, let's take a step back, look at the whole thing. That's the problem we are solving. Now, is that the only problem we are solving? No. So going back to your question, how does the end-to-end customer journey look like? So maybe starts at the home, then continues in the car. We talked about that. But then there's another aspect which happens after you leave the car. Now you're in the office. And then at some point, like in the evening, you get back in the car, or maybe you have some end of the day calls. None of us like that, but you have them. And so again, you need to seamlessly pick it back up where it got left off and the customer left the confines of the vehicle.
Or maybe find your car in a parking garage, which is my issue when I'm coming back in there.
So when we are building, and that's a great point. So in fact, when we are building our other AI agents outside of this mobile work agent that I talked about, that is where we are looking at, like when you look at the end-to-end customer journey, what are the key friction points in the customer's daily life, and which are the places where we can make a difference working with our partners, and those are the places we prioritize and target.
So let me, since you give me this opening with partners, let me ask you a question about the partners. I know you're working with partners around the world.
Yeah.
Now you describe this journey. Does that journey change when you go from Japan to US to Germany? Are there nuances there that you now know and understand?
Yeah, there's definitely subtle nuances in some cases. In some cases, maybe a little more difference. But yes, you definitely have slightly different customer journeys when you go across different geographies, different markets, and different cultures. And that has been, I would say, a very strong point for Cerence, because we, like even today, we support more than 70 languages across the world, and that is one of our strengths. And we have worked with literally every automotive OEM in every region of the world.
So you must have anecdotes. You must have stories that you've heard from customers that really illustrate this point. I would love to hear those.
Yeah. So let's take an example. Let's say compare and contrast. Again, going back to the corporate life mobile work example, right? So in United States, for example, people are more receptive to actually maybe having emails pop up, or responding to emails, short responses, or summarizing emails while they are driving. They're okay with that intrusion in there. In certain countries, they are okay with joining a meeting and having a conversation, but they really don't want their driving time to be interrupted by some email or some text message that is like strictly in the office task. Right? So those are the things. So the way we design our system, we make it flexible, not just for our OEMs, we are very well known for that, but also for the end user. And when I say flexibility, one is when you make it flexible as in the users can configure certain things, right? And in the initial stages, when you try to seed the system in terms of learning, you do that. But where we are going towards, and this is again where we are leveraging AI, is we want the system to learn in a very nuanced manner what are the preferences. Because it's also important that the system should not be so overfitted that it tries to guess some things and then overrides the user and annoys them.
That goes to my question. Your users are different, their behaviors are different.
Exactly.
The system has to adjust to what.
And it has to be sensitive. Which are the places it actually personalizes and which are the places it doesn't? Because that's equally important.
So one more question for you. There must be something in the system, a piece of it, or the way it works that you are the most proud of. What is it?
What I'm really proud of is, so there are multiple aspects. I'll highlight two. I know you asked for one, but if I can.
I'll take two.
I'll highlight two. The first part I'm really proud of, and to me really, it is about productizing. Building demos in single languages, in a nice, happy path, quiet environment, that's not.
So this is now deployed at scale.
Exactly. Okay, but what I'm really proud of, so to me a product is when you deploy it in the real world, in real customers' hands. So with that context, what I'm really proud of, number one, is the way we have achieved like really true conversational voice UI in a hybrid setting, where it is not just cloud, it is not just on the edge, and it is not even cloud where the edge is just a fallback, like, oh, we lost connectivity, and now we'll rely on edge. That used to be the old mental model. Instead, what we have now is a system where the system is so smart, it can figure out not just the nuances of conversation, the hesitation, changing your mind, but also the fact it works in that manner in an environment where you can have kids screaming in the back, you can have somebody else on another phone call, you are driving, you are on your Teams call, and the system works perfectly, and you are able to have that very private bubble around you to do what you want while still being
that's
engaged.
fascinating, and it must have been incredibly complicated because now you created the way for the system to understand the context of your interactions and remove that noise from it.
So, and that actually is a core strength we have had. So it comes from years and years of experience and research that Cerence has been known for. And so we are leveraging that. And it just so happens all the other technologies are now coming into play, where it's like a perfect storm of bringing those promises to life that we have been promising for so long.
But the problem that you are solving right now for automotive, the ability to communicate in context in a particular environment, must be true broadly in most of the human activities. Mm-hmm. Voice is how we communicate with each other. Voice is how we communicate with, we would want to communicate with all the upcoming systems. Is your ambition to use this across the domains?
Yeah, in fact, that is really where things are going to come up next, and there's more to come in this space, so stay tuned, but absolutely. So a good example, and I'll give you a concrete example here, like industrial use cases, mm-hmm. right? Shop floors. They are noisy environments, different kinds of noise, different noise profiles, but they are noisy environments. And those are places also where having just like a touch haptic interface is not probably the most efficient or the safest way to do things. Like you mentioned, voice is a very natural modality of communication for us as humans. And conversational voice UI especially, that is how we communicate. It's not command and control. So where we see is we are leveraging what we have now built and tested for the automotive domain, because that's where traditionally we come from. But now we are going into multiple other verticals, including industrial and manufacturing, and there's aviation. There's a whole lot of different verticals we are looking forward to actually bringing our technology and our strengths in.
It's absolutely fascinating. And first of all, I can't wait to have one of these systems in my car so I can use it and not get distracted by random emails in the middle of my drive.
You don't need to wait for long.
And
this year.
That's awesome. And then I would love to have this conversation in the future once you go outside of the cars and we can start interacting with other systems. So love it, fascinating. Raja, thank you so much for the conversation. Thank you for being on a show. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.